Good morning, Gridiron. Boy, is it cold here in Washington. 19 degrees outside right now. I can barely breathe. It's so cold. And I want to kind of just share some mindset stuff with you this morning as I head out to territory. So may help you as you think through your days moving forward. One thing that I always do on Sunday is, boy, it's cold here. One thing I always do on Sunday is create a weekly game plan. It helps set into place really what my intentions are in the week and what the week's gonna look like. And I like to do that on Sunday. It just helps me set goals, and I did that. I had full intentions to have a stellar week. Pretty excited going into Monday because I knew I had it mapped out pretty well. I'd shared it with my wife. I'd shared it with my business partner Dan, and one of the things that had to happen was helping our folks in Dallas and continue building out there. But I knew I wasn't going to be in Dallas, so to get Dan out there, as he had a full week of meetings in Fort Worth, was meaning that we were going to have to make sure there was 40 commits in interviews on Friday for him to have a good productive day. And he didn't have time to do that, so it all kind of fell on my shoulders and my responsibility. So I knew it was going to take a lot of time on Monday and Tuesday to make sure that that happened. So 10-hour days on Monday, and then life happened, right? My goals were not hit on Monday. I had 2 commits, and I had another lots to go. But I knew that, well, there was tomorrow and the rest of the week. So I set out on Tuesday and was much better. But Wednesday I had to get up at 3 to go into the city to make sure that I had sales time as well. I had Wednesday and Thursday planned out in sales time, and then as you can see outside, kind of life gets in the way, right? God had a different plan. He dumped some really cold weather on the Northwest, colder than I've ever seen it. Boy, it's so cold here right now. 19 degrees outside, right? So on my way to Seattle, it started snowing in Seattle. In Seattle, often places got more than a foot, and Seattle doesn't do well in the snow. Pretty much shut down the city, although I don't mind driving in the snow. With all the hills, that becomes very slippery. The night before, they had freezing rain before it got really cold, so they had a black ice all over and then snow on top of it. Kind of the worst conditions, as you can imagine. Most of the roads were impassable. Most of the neighborhoods you couldn't even get to, although I knew it was going to be a great day with everyone home, right? But I couldn't get to those appointments. I couldn't get to those doors to knock on, and ultimately was sent packing. Headed back up to San Juan's about 5 because I couldn't get to the neighborhoods to make calls because the snow was so thick. So now I'm behind on my sales goals as well as that activity, and was able to finish up Thursday and with more appointments. So Dan was well set up and set out to sell here in the San Juans on Friday. But the school called and said, nope, the kids are home today, and Robin was at school, and it left me to be the parent. And that was until about 3 o'clock, 3:30, until Robin was done. And so I wasn't able to get in the field like I wanted to, but I had some team stuff to do and some other things at 4. So it means I wasn't able to get out in the field at 5. And frankly, I didn't want to, but I was remembered of a conversation this week of a agent, Will, and some coaching I gave to him when he had ended earlier than his expectation. Now, I had no intent to need to sell on Friday or today for that matter, but because of life getting in the way, I had to change my mindset and open up more additional hours because of the responsibility changes in my schedule to meet my goals. And although I left my family, my in-laws at the table with their wine glasses full, and me heading the territory without a nice glass of wine or dinner to make sure I had some sales time. I got about 2 football fields away from my house and ended up in the ditch. Week is going great. And it was so cold that I didn't want to drive back to the house, but I knew my wife wasn't going to come out and drive it in. So I grabbed the shovel under the seat here, and I was able to get a little 5/8 minus gravel underneath the tire from the edge of the road, and was able to get out and headed to territory. Glad I did. Ended up running into a great couple families, protected them, and left with the Builders Week on Friday, but still wasn't at my green out. So I'm back out on a Saturday, despite the fact that I leave for Dallas tomorrow, and I'm trying to reach the goals today of a green out and a great week of interviewing. So sometimes you'll realize that things happen in life. I was talking to Sydney with Prestige, and this week she was allocated to train Alex, and her life got changed, and she was so worried about is Gridiron going to allow me to help and train because I'm not able to follow through on my commitments because I got to spend time with my family because my son is sick. I was so proud of her for that decision, despite the fact that it left us without a trainer. And it was so nice that that in this business we can have things like that come up and address them appropriately, and don't have to ask our bosses permission and fight with them for that time off with the idea that we're going to lose our job, like so many others do. But in this job, if you don't make additional decisions when those life things come up of how you're going to deal with and address it to still meet your goals, that freedom and flexibility becomes the noose that can hang you. And so I hope as you think through your day and life comes and throws a curveball, that you make the right choices so that you can continue to thrive and put food on the table and protect families, because that's what we do so well. Proud of you, Gridiron. I hope that you continue to make the right decisions and seek out help and create the environment that we love to work in. Talk to you soon.